Satnam Sri Vaheguru Sri Vaheguru Ek Onkar Satnam Sri Vaheguru Sri Vaheguru Ek Onkar Satnam Sri Vaheguru Sri Vaheguru Ek Onkar Satnam Sri Vaheguru Sri Vaheguru Sādhanām, Siri Vaheguru, Siri Vaheguru, Ekkankar Sādhanām, Siri Vaheguru, Siri Vaheguru, Ekkankar Sādhanām, Siri Vaheguru, Siri Vaheguru, Ekkankar Sādhanām, Siri Vaheguru, Siri Vaheguru. Ekkankar Sādhanām, Siri Vaheguru, Siri Vaheguru,
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 Siri Vaheguru, Siri Vaheguru, Siri Vaheguru, Siri Vaheguru.
Sadguru Deva Rama Hare Sadguru Deva
Yogis, for those of you who are joining in at home, it's Tanya here. We still have about 3 minutes before the class begins, so just get your props like pillows, blankets, maybe socks and sweater. Maybe make yourself a nice cup of tea, rolling out your mat, a carpet, whatever it is, and to cushion the body. You can either come to lay down or sit, just close your eyes, just taking this time to be with yourself. And we'll see you in a little bit.
Sadguru Deva
Time wherever you are. No need to move right away or jump up. See if you'd like to stretch your arms over your head. Maybe hug your knees into your chest. And then rolling off to one side. And making your way up into a comfortable seat. And I invite you to sit up on something. It could be a cushion from your sofa. It could be a pillow from your bed. Maybe even a thick book or two. So just elevating the hips allows the lower back to ease, the knees. And just closing your eyes. Flipping your hand palms so that they're turning upwards, and then lengthening from the crown of your head, traveling down the spine, one long line all the way to the tip of the tailbone. And just softening your face, your mouth, around your eyes, letting go of whatever is stimulating around you. And that can be quite a challenge if we practice at home. Here in the studio, this controlled environment, easy peasy. But you might have a kid or partner or roommates, maybe an animal to pull you out of the practice. And if that happens, no worry, no shame, no blame. You just make your way back to the breath. I'm going to just sit here for a little bit. Maybe notice how you're sitting here waiting for something. Just soften into what is. There are times when we feel the pull to meditate, but we're swayed from it by the excuses that come to mind. We may think that we're too busy, we have no time for ourselves, or we lack the right place for this activity. Our minds can think of dozens of reasons to put off meditation, but those are even stronger reasons to look past the illusion of the hustle and bustle of daily life and take time to connect to the place within that intersects with timeless power and limitless potential of the universe. And it's from that place that we can experience that potent stillness that exists at every moment. And it's only as far away as our breath. Let's join the hands up together in front of the heart with the eyes closed. Beginning the practice with 3 times Om. And wherever you are with the breath, just exhale, let it go. Making room for a deep breath in. Bowing your head forwards, take a moment to dedicate your practice. So give it away, give it up. Detach from the results. And when you're done with your dedication, just keep your eyes closed, rest your head, your hands back down, and lift the crown of your head up. So in going back to that avoiding meditation, it might be useful to ask yourself why you would put off something that is so beneficial to your peace of mind and general well-being. There may be the fear that if you were to slow your frantic pace, your world might fall apart, and then you would have to face the undeniable reality of who you really are and the results of the choices you have made. You might be afraid that you'll be forced to make huge changes in order to align yourself with the universe and harness your true potential. Sometimes the frustrations of the known world seem less scary than the possibilities of the unknown. But the reality is that when we cooperate with the universe by creating our lives from the truth of our being, everything becomes less of a struggle and more of a process of living blissfully on purpose. So finding yourself alone for a few moments can give you the opportunity to tune within in order to infuse a sense of calm wisdom into your work and to your being. Whenever you can take the time to recenter and refocus, it will remind you of how beneficial it is to connect to your source. And then you will make the time for these longer journeys into the spirit, because once you're rejuvenated and enlivened by knowing that you are made of energy and light, you can channel this power to create your life in alignment with the highest potential of your soul. So it's all right there. It's all within us. Guru. The answers. We're going to chant to the Guru. Join in if you're ready. If you're in the room here, page is open and right at the top. And if not, just the time to meditate and listen. and take a deep breath in. Just keeping your eyes closed and vibrate with that mantra for a little bit. So chanting to the Guru within, the lessons all around us, giving us opportunities to self-realize. It's all right there. Then you can slowly blink open your eyes. Welcome, guys. If we've never practiced together before, my name is Tanya. I'll be with you for 90 minutes as we move in a journey through the body and we relax and release. So you can start that if you are sitting on something, just remove it with one of your hands. Come to shake out your legs. You can bend the knees if you want. You can roll out ankles or flex and point your feet. Just move organically. Whatever feels good or needs to be stretched, go ahead. All right, and then we're going to be coming into our first pose of tonight. We're going to open a lot of the hips, and we're going to increase the opening of the hips in intensity as we go along. And the first one, we take it nice and easy. So it's going to be cobbler's pose, connecting the soles of your feet together and opening your knees out wide. Now, if you tend to sit in a cobbler's pose, and I'll show you from the side what could happen, if this starts to happen when you sit, like you try to fall back, then definitely grab a pillow at home, place it underneath your sitting bones, sit up on something, so this folding forward happening from the front of the hips is going to be much easier. Now, what I like to do to prop myself up, I'll give you a couple of options. If you have blocks, you can make a tower with your blocks, and creating something to rest your forehead on will help release the neck and the sides of the neck. If you know you have a pretty deep forward fold and blocks will be too high, then I would suggest grabbing a bolster, folding it in two, and then just hugging the bolster as you drop your head down, and closing your eyes once you're settled in the pose. How close to take the heels towards the pubic bone, that's up to you. So it depends on the flexibility around the pubic area, the thighs, the groins. So the closer the heels are, the more intense the opening here. And the farther the heels are from the pubic bone, then the less of the stretch in the inner thighs around the groins. So you decide again, see what needs to be done for tonight. It might be different from your practice of yesterday, and no expectations of how it would go tomorrow. But right now, how do you need to place your body? How do you need to move? Are really high off the floor and you have extra props at home, you can also place something under each of the knees to support. I think that when you grab your props at home, you have to be quite creative. So sometimes it's even a rolled up towel is a great prop, or a rolled up sweater. And in the yin yoga class with the props, more is more. We want more help from the universe to help the body relax. So as many things as you can, so you don't have to get up during your practice. new to yin yoga, the idea here is not forcing the body or pushing. It's rather supporting it so that it can relax and open with time and patience and a lot of self-love. So we step away from this pattern that we might have out there, like out in the world, of always go, 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 more, better, stronger, faster. So you might feel a deep stretch, but it's never the end goal or something to achieve. We let it all unfold on the mat. And your breath, beautiful anchor to hold on to. So when the pose becomes intense on a physical level, emotional, energetic, and you just need a release, the breath is there for you. You can always open up your mouth and just sigh it out. Or it happens to all of us, that the mind will start to wander. And again, you're just gently guided back. This way we can get out of the head and into the body, to the breath. Tonight I'll be sharing with you some beautiful conversations had by Sri Ramana Maharshi. And he is one of the gurus here at Svaha. He's watching over us right now as I speak. If you've ever been in the Jordan, you can see him up on top. And it's conversations or questions asked by some students. And Maharshi's answer. And during one of these sessions, a student asked him, "How can I attain self-realization?" And Ramana Maharshi answered, "Realization is nothing to be gained afresh. It is already there. All that is necessary is to get rid of the thought, I have not realized." Stillness or peace is realization. And there is no moment when the self is not. So long as there is doubt or the feeling of non-realization, the attempt should be made to rid oneself of these thoughts. And we get them due to the identification of the self with the non-self. And the self alone remains. And then the student asks, "How shall I reach the self?" And Maharshi answers, "There is no reaching the self. If self were to be reached, it would mean that the self is not here and now, but that is yet to be obtained. What is God afresh will also be lost, so it will be impermanent. What is not permanent is not worth striving for, so I say the self is not reached. You are the self. You are already that. The fact is, we are ignorant of our blissful state. Ignorance draws a veil over the pure self, which is bliss. And attempts are directed only to remove the veil of ignorance, which is merely wrong knowledge. Therefore, realization is for everyone. Realization makes no difference between the aspirants. This very doubt whether you can realize and the notion of "I have not yet realized" are themselves the obstacle. So be free from these obstacles as well. Here for another 10 deep breaths. Your tongue, space between your eyebrows and your forehead, even your ears, relaxing your ears, your scalp, your hair. The whole head feeling heavy and relaxed. Couple of deep breaths. Absolute time. Start to roll your spine up from the fold, taking your forehead off of any support, just sitting up for a moment, and keeping your eyes closed. You can even roll your shoulders down your back and open up through the chest, collarbones wide. Blinking, open your eyes. If you have any props between your legs, just remove them and place them to the side. And with the help of the hands, you can close the knees together and stretch out your legs. Maybe point, flex, or roll the ankles out. And taking a quick look behind your shoulder, make sure there's nothing behind you, and just come to lay down. If you want, you can lay on your side, Kiara. Between the postures tonight, we come into something called a rebound, where the body gets to process the poses, the space that's been created, moving around energy. Letting go of any thoughts around the pose, around the sensations. as yours or to be absolute. Just comings and goings through the body. Letting your mind freely participate. Transition from laying down into the next pose is simply by rolling over onto your belly. And Kiara, I will give you a option for this one, okay? So we're gonna come into something called the half frog. And I will show you at home. If you're not familiar with the pose, you will want something to support your leg. And we'll be working with the right leg first. So keep something next to you like a pillow, a rolled up blanket, or even a towel. And as you're laying on your belly, extend your right leg out to the side and bend your knee. So you create this 90-degree shape with your leg, cushioning your knee or your leg with something, maybe 2 pillows at home if they're not too thick. And then you can place one hand palm on top of the other and just rest your forehead down. Elbows out wide to the side. And just letting your left leg be long. Watching from home, it would be your right. I'm joined by my friend Kiara, and Kiara is pregnant. So if there is any pregnant mamas joining in on these yin classes, you would not be able to do this pose that we're doing right now, laying belly down. So you can always come up to a seated position and bending your left knee out to the side and the right leg straight, and coming into your forward fold. So still focusing on opening up the hips. And once your body is in position, just let go of moving around or fidgeting with clothes and props. And just let the body melt. So the conversation continues with Ramana Maharshi and his students, and one of them asks Maharshi, what is the use of samadhi? And does thought subsist then? And Ramana Maharshi answers, samadhi alone can reveal the truth. Your thoughts cast a veil over reality, and so it is not realized as such in states other than samadhi. In samadhi, there is only the feeling I am, and no other thoughts. The experience I am is being still. That's what's so beautiful about a yin practice, is that when we slow down and we become still, we create the right conditions for this meditative state, for this looking inwards, acceptance. Often when we're stuck in the yang or the doing, the activity, we get caught up in the chitta vrittis, the fluctuations of the mind. So carving out time for yourself to slow down, to really have a look and a feel and a listen to what's going on, to make space for it and let it go if it needs to go. Not being stuck in all of our busyness. using one hand to remove any props that might be supporting your leg. And when you're ready, lengthening out the right leg. Just laying on your front for a moment. Coming out of one side of the pose. If you had your head turned off to one side, you might want to look the opposite direction just to stretch it out. And then making your way into the left side of the pose in the same variation. So grabbing your bolster or pillow, moving it over to the left side of your body. And bending your left knee out so your left knee and your left hip are in the same line. And the left heel is underneath your left knee, so creating a 9-degree angle. Resting your forehead down so the cervical spine, your neck, is in line with the rest of it. The right leg relaxed and heavy. So we don't have to do much or anything fancy to stretch and open the body. Different way of approaching movement. Perhaps some of you can notice your ambition or the need to feel a lot. That always doesn't have to be the case. Breath should be relaxed and steady the entire time. And if the breath is bumpy, then it tells you something about the physicality of the pose and how you chose to enter or stay in it.
Ochakiniba Nitauchu Cheke Nitaya Ire were
Feel your left leg heavy. Feeling the inside of the left thigh, where the thigh and the hip connect. You can visualize your breath circulating around the left hip, around the lower back, the inner thigh, and down the left leg, into the left foot, breathing all the way to the left toes. You're here for 10.
Ire were Nitauchu Ire were Ire were Nitauchu Ire were Nitaya Ochakiniba Nitauchu Cheke Nitaya Ire were Nitauchu Ire were Nitauchu Ire were Nitaya Ochakiniba Nitauchu Cheke Nitaya
And as gently as you can,
Ire
removing any prop underneath the left leg, thigh,
were Nitauchu
sliding the left leg straight behind you, releasing the head, the neck, the arms, and the shoulders. And when you're ready to move, you just come to lay down, either on your side or on your back. Allowing the hips to absorb the stretch, the joints to absorb this stress. So then the conversation between Ramana Maharshi and the student continues. So the student then asks Ramana Maharshi, who then is God? And he responds, the self is God. I am is God. If God could be apart from the self, he must be a selfless God, which is absurd. All that is required to realize the self is to be still. And what can be easier than that? inside of your body, coming out of your rest. And using your hand in front of your chest to gently press yourself up. And we're going to make our way into our next pose. Of course, again, a hip opener. Now this one does require a lot of props. For us in studio, it's not a problem. And I will give you many options at home. If you have little props or even none, I will give you an alternative pose. So what we're going to do is come into a wide-legged child's pose position with the legs. So you take your knees out the width of your mat, maybe even wider, big toes together, and sitting your butt back onto your heels. Now you grab your blocks, you will place them behind your back, one on the middle height, lengthwise to support your spine, and the second one coming up high to support your head. Now if you'd like, you can even add a bolster over those blocks, extra cushion and support. And then once you're there, you just advance as close as you can towards the props behind you, and you make your way one hand at a time. You come to lay down. Now, if you don't have all these props to get into at home, you can, if you'd like, take a child's pose. So you get the same opening in the hip, but not a back bend. Or you can just come to seated hero's pose, knees together, feet open wide, and sit in between your ankles. And if you can place something underneath your sitting bones. Now, if you have no props at home, you can also come into a pigeon pose. So from all fours, the right knee behind the right wrist, lengthening the left leg back and making your way towards the floor. So many options depending on the props you have at home. You try, if options are given, try not to do what you always do or your favorite pose, because that's what the body's used to, what the mind is used to. And the way that you challenge yourself is to step away from that. Right? We all have preferences, and that's totally fine, but we don't want to get attached to those either. Once you've settled, just closing your eyes. You might even feel the stretch in the front of your thighs, the outer hips and around the groins as well, and even to your ankles. Of course, if your butt is really high up from the floor, you can always sit on something as well. Always taking that support. answer is yes, and it is the best help that you can possibly render to others. Those who have discovered great truths have done so in the still depths of the self. But really, there are no others to be helped, for the realized being sees only the self. Just as the goldsmith sees only the gold while valuing it in various jewels made of gold. When you identify yourself with the body, name and form are there. But when you transcend the body consciousness, the other idea also disappears. The realized one does not see the world as different from himself. We are about halfway through the pose. If you are someone who is in pigeon pose, you want to slowly make your way out, come into the other side. If you are with your legs in child's pose, you just stay as you are. If you start to feel your body tense up, just visualize your breath working that area that's tense. If you notice you're caught up with a storyline or just busy with thoughts, visualize your breath coming in and just sweeping them away. Using your breath as the connection to here and now. come out of the pose you are currently in. If you are in the back bend variation, use your hands, push yourself up. If you're in child's pose, or if you were in pigeon, come back to all fours. And in your own time, just coming to lay down on your back. You can lay on your side, closing your eyes. Letting your feet fall open to the side so the front of the hips can relax. Soft expression on your face. Feel the micro movements of the body as it moves with the breath, as the body gets breathed. So it's nothing that we do. We don't ask the body. We don't say please or thank you. It all just unfolds and happens like the miracle that it is, that the gift that it is. From this laying down position that we will come into our next pose, which will aim at opening up the front of the hips and the psoas. It's also a nice back bend after a couple of forward folds. Nice to undo that. So you come to lay down on your back. And Kiara, you can do that as well. And grabbing a block with one of your hands and keep your block close by. Coming into a supported bridge. Now at home, if you do not have a block, grab 2 to 3 pillows and we'll be placing it on the lower back. So bending your knees and walking your feet in close towards you. Keep in mind that the block has 3 heights, so you decide which height is best for you. And then using your feet to push into the floor, lift up your hips. Place the block in whichever height is appropriate, and then lower the hips back down. You can take the arms next to the body or open them wide. And if space allows it, if you'd like more of a stretch in the front of the hips, gently lengthening out one leg at a time. So you're resting on your heels and the big toes fall outwards. It might be a nice idea to start with your knees bent, and then eventually you make your way to straight legs. So not beginning at the maximum, but arriving there. Using pillows underneath your sacrum instead of blocks, you can consider it a slightly more restorative pose. But perhaps it's exactly what you need. notice that as we stay in a pose, it increases the stretch or the intensity we feel in the physical body. Try not to get out of the pose. You just stay and deal with whatever's coming up without having to run away or ignore. But if you do feel yourself suffering through the pose, just look at that right in its eyes and see its impermanence. Know that the pose won't last forever, and neither will your thoughts or sensations about it either. So for now, we just try to be with it, sit with it, and marinate in it. It can teach us a lot about us. So the last little bit of the conversation between Maharshi and the students ask, Maharshi, how can I control my mind? And he answers, there is no mind to control if the self is realized. The self shines forth when the mind vanishes. In the realized person, the mind may be active or inactive. The self alone exists. For the mind, body and world are not separate from the self, and they cannot remain apart from the self. Can they be other than the self? When aware of it, why should one worry about these shadows? The self is the heart, self-luminous. And illumination arises from the heart and reaches the brain, which is the seat of the mind. So the world is seen with the mind, so you see the world by the reflected light of the self. And if the mind is turned in towards the source of illumination, objective knowledge ceases and the self alone shines as the heart. last 10 deep breaths.
Yevarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha. Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'chunika yisa. Adonai panav elecha v'yasim lecha shalom. V'yasim lecha shalom. Shalom, shalom, shalom. Shalom, shalom, shalom. Shalom, 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 shalom. Shalom, shalom, shalom.
If you're someone who has your legs stretched out, take your time to bend your knees and walk your feet in so the soles of the feet are connected to the floor. If your arms are spread out wide, just slide them next to the side body, flipping your hand palms downwards. And then using your feet and your hands, push down into the floor, pick up your hips, remove the block and keep the hips up. And as slowly as you can, start to lower your hips back towards the floor.
Yevarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha.
Just stay here for a moment. If you'd like, you can join the knees together and open your feet wide so you create this teepee shape with your legs.
Adonai panav elecha v'yasim lecha shalom. V'yasim lecha shalom.
And we've come to final Shavasana. So you can start to prepare yourself by gathering up maybe socks or sweaters, blankets or pillows. If you have something to place over your eyes, always a good idea.
Shalom, 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 shalom.
And allowing the body to rest. And let your mouth hang open. Lay here and be free. Allow the body to be supported. You can tell yourself you deserve this rest. It's not something we do to treat the body, but it's a birthright. is necessary. Start to wiggle your fingers and your toes. Maybe see if your body would like a stretch with the arms up or a hug with the knees in. Rolling off to the right side of your body and just stay there for a little bit. And then using your hand in front of your chest and come just to press yourself back up into a comfortable seat. Maybe grabbing something along the way to sit up on. And when you're in your seat, closing your eyes. For a final time, joining the hands up together in front of the heart. Exhaling all the air out, just let it go, let it leave the body. Breathing in. You can open up your eyes and just bow your head down, maybe opening up your arms so the palms of your hands are up. It's just a beautiful symbol of bowing down to yourself, to all that you are, for stepping onto your mat, for slowing down. And I would love to thank the yogis in the room with me today. I had Kiara and Sabine also behind the controls, making sure it all happens smoothly. For those of you who joined in at home, thank you very much. Maybe you can write a comment or let us know who's there if it's possible. Make sure that you stay tuned in. All social media and email is how we communicate to you guys, especially as July 1st approaches. We give quite a bit of classes outdoors, so come check us out. And we're in 2 locations, one at the Amsterdam Museum, so right by the downtown location, or good news if you're a bit more north, we have them in the Vliegenbos as well. So check out the outdoor schedule, check our social media, just stay connected in these weird times where we can't see each other face to face. I wish you all a beautiful Sunday night. Namaste, signing off.